Dr. هاني الحسني, and that's the course of Grammar 3. Today, after we finished chapter 13, which is about adjective clauses, we move now to chapter 14, Gerunds and Infinitives, part 1. So in that part, we need to understand the concepts and the rules that we have to memorize based on how to use gerunds and how to use infinitives. In general, we understand that gerunds is about using ing, and infinitive it's also about something else which is related to put to plus the verb, so or plus infinitive verb. So here, if you look at the pretest, in the pretest we could recognize the differences between ing, I mean the gerunds, like here, make any the question after you complete each chart listed, make any necessary corrections. So we can see from 1 to 12 that the sentences, some sentences needs to be corrected. So if we look at number 1, shopping during the holidays can be more expensive than at other times of the year. That's correct sentence, so I think no problem with it. Number 2, I appreciated to hear the news about your family. So we have here what we call something we didn't recognize it very well, because I appreciated to hear, maybe I appreciated hearing the news. Number 3, the professor decided not to give a long final exam. So the way here for decide, the professor decided do not to give. So you can find out the word do not here, it's totally incorrect. You can continue the other examples down as you like. Down here we have gerunds and infinitives. Playing tennis is fun. So both of the rules started as introduction, just to tell you the hint that you could notice after you look at each one separately. So A, playing tennis is gerund, playing itself as a subject is gerund because it started with ing, and originally it is verb, and that's why we say playing is gerund, because we know that it is verb and it used in the way of subject. That's why we have to put ing to make it gerund. B, we enjoy playing tennis, subject verb object. Playing is gerund, it is used as the subject of the sentence. Playing tennis is a gerund phrase. C, he's excited about playing tennis. He's excited about playing tennis. And playing is gerund, or a gerund used as the object of the verb enjoy. C, playing is gerund used as the object of the preposition about. So if you look at C, he excited about playing tennis or playing tennis. He excited about playing tennis. We have preposition. After preposition, we could find ing. So ing here, excited about playing tennis. How we can trace it? We can look at excited. So we know the word excited, and we can recognize about. After we find excited and about, so directly and absolutely we will anticipate ing after the adjective and preposition plus ing. So that's the first part or the first part of using gerund. Number two, we have the second section that belong to infinitives. It started, or the subject started with to. So to play tennis well takes a lot of practice. He likes to play tennis. So you can see that infinitive here too, it followed by a simple form of verb. So I cannot use a present simple styles, but I use simple form of verb. Simple form, so I cannot change it if it is like be. If I say to be or not to be, so be will be the same and won't be changed as auxiliary verb to is or am or are, or I couldn't change was to was or were, so it will be based on the same simple form of verb. Gerunds, infinitives can also be used as a subject of the sentence or as an object. So you can see in the first part of gerunds we use gerunds in subject, we use gerund in object, and the same we use infinitive for subject and we use the infinitives for object. That's how we could understand the sequence order or chronological order of the sentence when we have a part belong to infinitive or gerunds. We have here example: walking is good exercise. Bob and Anne are playing tennis. So you can see walking is gerunds here, and are playing here is not gerund, it is normal present participle. So it's a present continuous. That's how we could understand the differences between using gerunds and the use of present continuous or the present participle. Here also examples: Marta needs to leave. So to leave here, it's an infinitive to plus simple form or simple form of verb. We didn't add anything. To work without breaks isn't permitted. يعني ليس مصرحا لك بالعمل دون أخذ استراحة. That's how we use it as infinitive for subject and object. And last, we use it for preposition. Is Elias committed to his job? So committed to his job here to become as a preposition. It's not infinitive in that part. Let's move to the second section. The second section, we have common verbs followed by gerunds. So since your childhood and when you were in the school, you have gerunds, verbs and infinitive verbs. Those verbs, it's almost followed by the gerund structure or infinitive structure, and that's why you have to memorize in that part the gerunds first. So section 2 is about some verbs that denoted or it refer to the next word to be in gerund. So if I read the verb, from this verb, because I memorize this verb, I can understand it's about gerund. So I enjoy playing tennis. So I enjoy playing tennis. You have here the word enjoy and you have playing. And for that part, because we understood that part, we can see I enjoy. Enjoy is the verb of gerund. Verb plus gerund, like here we can read down: enjoy, appreciate, mind, quit. It means give up، يعني يستسلم أو يترك مكان ما. Finish, get through, stop, يعني يتوقف، avoid يتجنب، postpone أو put off يعني يؤجل، delay أيضا يؤجل، keep on يستمر، consider يعني اعتبر أو أخذ بالحسبان، discuss ناقش، mention يذكر، suggest يعني يقترح. So we have about the numbering for this is about 14 verb. These 14 verbs we have to memorize them based on the structure of gerund. That's how we could deal with it. Like Joe quit smoking يعني أقلع جو عن التدخين. Joe give up smoking. Give up يعني ترك أو تخلى عن. Joe give up smoking. So in that part, when we understand quit and give up, we could deal with the next word based on gerunds structure. And this is really a problem for many EFL learners who learn English as a foreign language. They couldn't decide exactly when is a suitable time to use the ing or infinitive after the verb. Why? Because simply they couldn't memorize the verbs. They have forgotten what are the verbs, and that's why it becomes kind of hesitation or maybe random selection for the answer, and later they will discover that they couldn't choose the accurate answer for it. We have also here stop and suggest can be used or stop only can be used for infinitive purpose in case of we have ordering, like if I have kind of what we call a purpose. So if we have a purpose, we can use stop for infinitive. It's not for ing. So suggest can also be used with a subjunctive noun clause. Subjunctive noun clause. We can discuss suggest later on because we have subjunctive noun clause that discussed before. We are not here to talk about subjunctive, but we need to continue until you as a learner you can check what is subjunctive, that we say we keep it in the simple form of the verb. We keep the verb in the simple form. That's how we use subjunctive noun clause. So in exercise 6 we have one kind of sentences. These sentences you need to complete, but look at the first one. Would you mind opening the door? Thanks. And would you mind closing the door? It's either answer possible. I want to order pizza. Syria has suggested eating burgers. So we couldn't put here anything but gerunds. You can continue the other sentences by yourself and you can check out the verbs. So here, like the speaker enjoy watching, the speaker have given up, maybe you can put here one word, given up running for better weather, or given up moving out for, so it will be directly ing verb, and here also ing verb because the verb is keep on. Well, so number 3 here we have common verbs followed by infinitives. So in this part we need to understand that they are verbs and it followed by infinitives. Common verbs followed by infinitives in this section. Again, we said in this part, after we look at the introduction of gerunds, we have to move to introduction of infinitives. And the thing here is about realizing the common verbs that followed by infinitives, not by gerunds. So we have to remember again, I hope to see you again soon. He promised to be here by 10. He promised not to be late. So three examples, and for us we have to memorize how to remember this list of verbs. We have here 16 verbs, and these verbs for sure we have to understand after it, or after the structure of this infinitive will be infinitive verb. Expect to do, expect to go, expect or intend to do, or decide to. So that's how we understand all of them. Like here, I hope to see you, not like I hope seeing you. I hope to see you. Some examples directly followed by infinitives, and some we need to remember that we can put the negation. Promise not to be, not promise to be, not. So the sequence here is important. After the verb, we put the negation. Okay, fine. So I hope to look at this part from you and with you to understand the concept. And for common verbs, we have hope to. It means do something, plan to, intend to, decide to, promise to, agree to, offer to, refuse to, seem to, appear to, pretend to, ask to, expect to, would like to, want to, and need to. These examples, it's really, or the verbs here, it really needs your memory, and without your memory you will be failed, because you won't be direct or exact, one who can really understand the sequence and the real structure of the sentence. So if you hear pretend to, remember directly not to put any kind of ing, like we have here down kind of questions. How was the movie? The movie was good, but the guy in back of us kept talking. So we say keep, it's about ing, keep talking, and maybe texting, like somehow. Did you ask him? Did you ask him? Maybe did you ask him to stop? That's how we can understand it. I expected the usher. And maybe turning off him. That's how we deal with some kind of words. And down we have some also examples, like would you mind maybe lending or giving me some money, lending me or giving me some money, because mind almost with ing. That's how we understand the verbs. And here I saw him at the mall. He pretended not to talk to me or not to see me. He pretended not to see me, not to look at me. That's how we recognize. From pretend, we can continue. We have here also infinitives in section 4 with objects. So look at these examples, A, B, C, D. Mr. Lee told me to be here at 10 o'clock. The police ordered the driver to stop. I was told to be here at 10 o'clock. The driver was ordered to stop. So here we have 4 examples. These examples we need to look at them carefully, how the structure of infinitive, it's already in object. So Mr. Lee told me to be. So to be here, that's infinitive already in objective or object, I mean. The police ordered the driver to stop. So ordered the driver to stop here, and also object. I was told to be here at 10. The driver was ordered to stop. I was told to be here at 10 o'clock. The driver was ordered to stop. You look here at these examples and you could recognize how the infinitive almost at the end of the sentence or in the mid after the verb, and it means in the object, and that's what we call the use in the passive. They are used in the passive in C and D. The driver was ordered. It used the verbs here used in the passive style or the passive structure. That's how we could understand the meaning, and that's how we have that order or that way of understanding the sentence. Number 2, common verbs followed by noun or pronoun. So tell someone to, invite someone. So we have here using someone or everyone or whatever between the verb and the preposition. When you say invite, it's a verb, and when you use to, is the to for preposition or the introduction for infinitive. But between them, we can mention like tell her to, tell him. This about using pronoun or noun itself, like tell Ahmed or tell Ali or tell Siham. Whatever nouns you or proper noun or pronoun, you can put them between the verb and the infinitive or the to that refer later on to infinitive. Never mind. Let's continue. I expect to pass the test. I expect Mary to pass the test. So when you put I expect Mary to, it's not a big deal because you define the noun and you put this kind of what we call you put the object between, or you put the name or the proper noun between the verb and the infinitive structure. And when you compare here, I think I will pass the test, I think Mary will pass the test. What is the difference here? As we said, if you say I think Mary will pass the test, you define her because you are not in her position. And if you say I think I will pass, in that part you are using yourself for subject. Like here we have two patterns, verb plus infinitive, but here we have object. So you are defining the object here as you can see in F, but in E you are keeping it with verb and infinitive, and that's it. It's not two parts. Common verbs: ask to, ask someone to, expect someone, need someone to, want someone to, and would like someone to. So these kind of infinitives can be followed by object and then the infinitive. I hope you still keep up with me, and this is kind of last note here in that section. A gerund is used after advice. He advised buying a Fiat. It means he advised somebody to buy a Fiat car. He advised me to buy. He advised me to buy. So I was advised to buy a Fiat. So that's how we need to differentiate. There is no noun or pronoun object here, but you can. He advised buying. It means somebody gave him the advice, but he advised me. Somebody is sending me an advice, and that's why we keep it here as in gerund. I mean, as in what we call infinitive in the second part and gerund in the first one. Okay, let's move to the latest one. Common verbs followed by either infinitives or gerunds. And in this part, we need to do another video. Why? Because we have to take longer time in explaining it in total. So I will stop here for today or for the video, and then later on we will continue from section 5. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you very soon.